Hello, beautiful light beings. I'm talking to you today about jealousy, and I'm answering Natalia's question about how to overcome jealousy or get through it or deal with it. So here's the first thing, and you might not like this, but I can only say it as I see it. Jealousy fundamentally is about insecurity. It's about feeling insecure. And the insecurity, the the root of that is going to be based within yourself. Because when we're depending on another person for our emotional state, we're not really in full alignment with the truth of who we are. I understand if there's stuff going on in a relationship. I mean, if it's real stuff, real stuff that your partner is actually betraying you by being with another person, if that's not the contract that you have in your relationship, then you have a choice to make about whether you want to stay in that relationship. And the deeper reasons can be around a lot of other things: respect, worthiness, all of that. But usually, jealousy is something that we're creating in our own head. We make up a story about whatever it is, and then it kicks off this relentless monkey chatter spiral pattern in our brain that takes us down, and it contracts all of our energy. So depending on what's triggering your jealousy, you could look at the deeper reasons as to where that first root feeling came from. Why would you feel jealous? Because when we're feeling jealousy, essentially what that's telling our inner being, our higher self, is it's throwing into our awareness something that we don't want. We don't like the feeling of feeling jealous. And why don't we want the feeling of feeling jealous? Because when we're not feeling jealous, we're feeling like we have perhaps the full attention of the other person. And when we are feeling jealous, we are not having the full attention of the other person. I'm just picking out an example because I don't know the exact situation here, but generally, jealousy is about insecurity and lack. So the way that we can overcome that is by looking at the roots of that feeling, of what's triggered it, of where it first started. And the way that we can find the roots is to go back and think about in your life, when was the first time that you had that feeling? When was the first time that you felt jealous? And what was going on for you at the time? What triggered that? What triggered that? Because whatever the event was or circumstance that triggered that feeling of jealousy, it's probably how you reacted to that event that created the deep sense of insecurity in yourself. Now, if you had full security in yourself and full security with your partner, so this could bring up some trust issues too. There's all sorts of deeper issues related to jealousy, what the root triggers of it could be. Then you wouldn't be having that feeling in the first place. The only reason why we attract any feelings of struggle and upset in any way is to create contrast so that we can know what we don't want, so that we can heal that within ourselves and then expand. Because where we're always striving to be is in a place of expansion with our energy open and connecting, and working from a love space. So if you're focusing on the feeling of jealousy or insecurity or lack, then you're not focusing on the feelings with your partner or whoever it is that you're jealous about with love. Maybe you're jealous because a friend is getting promoted when you're not, or any other reason. There can be a whole bunch of other reasons, but essentially what you're doing is you're focusing on the lack instead of focusing on the joy and the celebration for that other person and the love that you have for that other person. And so when you're looking outside of yourself to feel a certain way, that's not going to work for you forever. It might work sometimes, but essentially that's always going to be triggered. Early on in my relationship with Bobby, hi Carmen. Good day, good weekend to you too. Early on in my relationship with Bob, I think this was even pre-babies. Hi Gina. He is a fell runner, meaning he runs long races in the mountains. And there was a female fell runner too, and they were going off to the Lake District a couple of hours away to do a fell race. And usually I would take him to these races and watch, because I quite enjoyed watching all of these men with fabulously beautiful muscled legs running down hills at the rate of knots. But I couldn't go to this fell race this time, and it started really early because it was very long. And so he and this female fell runner went off to the Lake District together and camped the night before, sharing a tent, my husband and this other woman. And it never even occurred to me for 1 minute to be jealous, because Bob and I were so in love with each other. This was early marriage. And I trusted him, and I knew that Bob was with me and that he would never do that to me. And I felt secure in my relationship with him and in myself to know that just wasn't going to happen. And I can't even remember who the woman was, but I met her, and I must have had a secure enough feeling about her to know that she wasn't going to try anything with my husband either. And so off he went. Not a problem. Have I felt jealous before? Yes, I have. Only once with my ex-husband did I ever feel jealous, but I have felt jealous with other relationships that I've had, and it's a terrible feeling. And whenever you're feeling something like that, that's immediately an insight into yourself that you're not in alignment with yourself, and that's something that you need to look at and examine and think, well, hold on a minute. Why am I feeling this way? This is crazy. What is it that's not working for me right now? What is it? Is it an issue of trust? Is it an issue of respect? Is it an issue of insecurity, of lack? When was the first time did I feel this? Why is this being triggered in me now? And this doesn't have to just be about jealousy. This can be anytime you feel anything: guilt, anger, sadness. If you're suddenly feeling a certain way, that's a gift, because that's what enlightens us to realize we need to look within. So I can help you look within, because the work I do is deep root belief work to find out what triggers these things in the first place. Sometimes we can be so overwhelmed with our emotions that we can't seem to look in to find what is the root point of it. Oh, and another thing to point out is that when you're in the throes of your emotion, in your drama, so when you're feeling hugely jealous in the moment, that's probably not the time to start examining things, because you're too much you're too much in it. You need to calm down. You need to sit down, breathe, drink some water, think about something that makes you joyously happy. Focus on the love aspect that you have with that person. Do anything you possibly can to get to a calmer state. And then when you're in a calm, rational state energetically, then you can start to examine what the purposes are. Because when you're right in the middle of something, you've got all of this monkey chatter going and you're making up stuff, and then you're making up more stuff, because then your vibration is focusing on that. And then the more you think about that, the more thoughts like that you're going to keep attracting to yourself. And then you're going to call a friend and bitch about that to your friend, and then friend's going to start getting on that bandwagon too, because they know what it feels like also to feel jealous. And then you're going to have a nice big long rant session about that, and that's just going to keep you spiraling even more and justifying your feelings and making the other person wrong. And then you're going to get into blame and then a whole bunch of other things, when really, when you notice this feeling in the first place, you need to stop and breathe and drink some water and meditate and get yourself back to your center, get yourself back to your expansive, loving vibration, so that you can start to process this in a way that's going to help you, so that you can start to examine and self-heal. Now, if it comes to a point that you need to make bigger and deeper choices about getting out of a relationship that is not supporting you, if it's a real thing, like if the person is betraying you in some way, then you have choices there too. A lot of times people feel like they're trapped because they don't have choices, but I'm telling you, whatever the circumstances are, you have a choice. So jealousy, it's a horrible feeling, and why would you want to stay in it when you're in it? When you're feeling jealous, just think, hold on a minute. This is terrible. I don't want to feel this way. So the first thing is get yourself out of feeling that way. Distract yourself. Think of something else. Hi, Gina. Okay, yeah, we're going to have another Facebook Live about guilt pretty soon, because guilt is wrapped up with a lot of things, and jealousy is a good one, because we then project our feelings of jealousy onto the person that's making us feel that way, and try to make them feel guilty because we think that they're at fault for doing whatever the thing is that made us feel jealous in the first place. But that's not actually what's going on. What's going on is only with ourselves individually. So when you're ready to take 100% responsibility for your own feelings, for your own emotions. I know it's hard in challenging relationships because the other person can be so extremely annoying sometimes, and it's hard to stay in alignment and in your center. Hi, Natalia, this one's for you. It's hard to stay in alignment and in your center when you're in the face of somebody who's having a completely different experience to you. Maybe for them, whatever they're doing is fine for them, but for you, it's not. And so not everybody can perceive the world the same way that we do. So if you're in relationship, I really believe that we attract our relationships to learn from and grow from, because couples have 95% of the same root belief systems, even if they seem like they're on polar opposite planets in the universe. You'll see when you chunk down that couples trigger each other all the time, because it's a shadow part of yourself. And sometimes the shadow part doesn't show up quite the same way. In fact, I think that's another whole Facebook Live too. Oh, there's so many things to talk about. Anyway, I think you've got the point now about jealousy, that you need to look at that insecurity in yourself and calm yourself down and realize what it is triggering in you and choose a better focus and a better thought. You need to think about, is it worth feeling like this and creating this drama with your person? And then heal that piece, because until we heal those root beliefs that are holding us back and triggering us, how are we going to continue to move forward and be in total expansion and in our love space all the time? Because we want to be fully expanding and holding our partner in their highest light, our children, our friends, everybody we meet. We want to be in our highest light and hold them and theirs. So if you've got something negative going on, or a lower emotion and are feeling contracted, that's a gift. Look at that and change your state of being. You can do this. If you'd like to work with me, please private message me. I can help you find the root beliefs of everything that's holding you back and clear and heal them so that you can reach your highest potential. So much love to you all today, and I'll see you in the next video.